Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi about to everybody. I'm Preacher Mars, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you are having a wonderful Wednesday. Want to give a shout out to our sister Satana. She's under the weather today. We pray that Allah gives her shifa. And anyone else out there that's not feeling well, we pray that Allah uplifts your health and give you a robust recovery. Again, shout out to Mr. White. Hopefully, you're going to have a successful procedure. I just found out about that yesterday. And like I said, anyone that's not feeling well, may Allah give you shifa and get you back on your feet. Now, brothers and sisters, today is a little bit different. Our topic of today is the endangered species, which is the rational mind. A lot of times we talk about politics, we're talking about religion, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about cultural imperative. But what it comes down to is whatever happened to the valuing and the upholding of the rational mind, the ability to take a solid position that was built upon facts, was built upon executable facts, a foundation of truth, and being able, whether you agreed or not agree, but you were able to come to some type of solution. You know, we have this situation now. The government looks like it's going to reopen again, but it won't reopen under the auspices that it's going to treat people fairly. So you have people who are being held hostage through the SNAP program. They didn't get their food stamps. You have people that are returning their pets back to the pound because they can't feed their dogs. We also have, we're not even talking about the Head Start program that was affected by the end of the SNAP program, but we also have a scenario that even when this thing is over, it's going to be losers. And the people going to be losing are the people that never chose to play the game. We believed in the system, if you will, and that system betrayed us. So today we're going to talk about the rational mind. And I want to again give a shout out to everybody that's been hanging with me. A shout out to the UK. We had a great time, good tour over there. Sometimes when you go on tour, brothers and sisters, I apologize to you. I apologize, Sister Satana. I was over there. I did almost miss a show just because I'm gonna be honest. I'm older and my time zones were off. So my Tuesday felt like a Tuesday when it was really a Wednesday. It's a strange thing. No excuse. I'm going to try to do better. Now, in this show, I'm going to ask everybody, please bring your rational mind to the conversation. Okay, this is not about being emotional. This is not being about right or wrong. This is about settling, about finding a particular type of balance where we can begin having conversations. In many regards, we've been fighting this thing for quite a number of years. And what we watched is a train of irrationality not jump off the track, but stay on the track and destroy everything that went in its way. In fact, it stayed on the track so long there were no tracks. It literally in people's minds was going through towns, there weren't tracks. But it had a breed of destruction. It had a quality unrest. And right now we are in the throes of it right now. It's times like this I say, well, where's Malcolm when you need him? Where's Honorable Elijah Muhammad when you need him? Where's Einstein when you need him? Where's Dr. King when you need him? You know why they're not here, brothers and sisters? Because even if they were here, I even say if even Jesus was here, brothers and sisters, he would be dealing with the fact that we have an erosion, if you will, and a deficit of people that do what? Value the rational mind. All right. This is Shout Out Show. I'll be right back. Don't you mute. I'm going to leave right now. You know what? I need to go get my rational mind. Talk to you in a minute. Chill out. The man ain't coming and this ain't right. This is an intervention and call to action for Black Muslim singles. In the name of Black Muslim love, I'm claiming December 27th, the first annual East Coast Black Muslim Singles Networking and Comedy Gala. All roads lead to Washington, D.C., formerly known as the Chocolate City, the gentrification from the shaitan. Anyways, we have what you need for the holiday season. Ho ho no, I'm calling out the elite of the elite Black Muslim singles to join us in Washington, D.C. for the first annual East Coast Black Muslim Singles Networking and Comedy Gala held December 27, 2025. Sweet Tooth Restaurant and Cafe, comedy by preaching friends, food by Chef Steve, and the star is you. Get your tickets. Early bird tickets are $75, after December the 9th, $85. Sweet Tooth Restaurant and Cafe, 2323 Martin Luther King Avenue, Washington, D.C. in Southeast, December the 27th, 7th through the 10th. You don't want to miss it. All right, we want to give a shout out to my brother Yusuf Jalil, working hard to get that ad together. Hey, we're doing different things here on the Shout Out Show. I'm happy to say that we're going to do our first annual Black Muslim Singles Networking and Comedy Gala in Washington, D.C., December the 27th. Also, we're going to do our first ever all DC, all DMV, I want to say New Year's Eve comedy extravaganza. We're going to be bringing in everybody from Maryland, D.C., Virginia. It's going to be something, we've been wanting for a long time, people, to do something for ourselves, and particularly for Black Muslims, our community. I'm gonna tell you something. We need to get folks married, because we ain't getting no people married. We're not gonna have much of a community left. I can't even contribute these days. I'm just saying what it is. And to all of you who are interested in participating in these things, buying your tickets, I want you to know this is a culture imperative. I do not approach this lightly. I never approached this Muslim community lightly, particularly after the WD Muhammad community, the NOI. I've never approached them lightly. And what I've heard is a call to action that these are things that are needed in our community. And these things, I believe, honestly, will contribute to the overall community if we can just get our act together. So I'm going to take the lead on a couple things, and I hope that you guys come along. All right. So let me give some shout outs. We'll give a shout out to Sister Ree. Sister Ree, how you doing? And salam alaikum wa rahmatullah barakatuh. Sister Ree is she was in Michigan. Now she's back in Houston. Glad you got back safely. We appreciate it. Sister Ree helped my mom turn it out for her birthday party. Thank you to Sister Ree coming in. She is still talking about it. My main man, Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock, Mr. Straight Up, Straight Down. One of our day ones, the Canadian envoy to the Shout Out Show. No terrorists. Thank you so much for coming. Big brother Bilal Salahuddin, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And of course, greetings to your queen, Sister Sonia Dalton. Salahuddin in the house. You can't have one without the other. You can't have good without great. That's the way I look at it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And my brother, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Johnny L. Thomas. I'm talking about quality, brother. And I'm glad to call him my brother, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. He's always had your boy Preacher Monster's back from way back to the way back. We even did road gigs together. That's how far we go back. My main man, Jabril Ha. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. You got something on YouTube. I guess I'll try and put that up as soon as I can. Thank you so much. Coming all the way in from Charlotte, doing good things, man. I hope everything's working out for you out there in Charlotte. Let me jump out here to Instagram real quick. We got Jabril, Tawheed, Abdullah, Deliciously Sweet, the Arsh joined, Muhammad H Town joined, Daki Khan joined, Transformers Company joined, Anwar Saeed joined. How you doing, brother? Thank you much for tuning in for us. It's a little hot here. I'm on the lights here. I'm cooking like a baked potato. But I want to get to the point of what I was talking about earlier. What I was talking about earlier, brothers and sisters, again, was this question. The rational mind. Now, I'm going to share something with you guys. Let me get it straight, because sometimes I forget things. I always thought this was a lie 15, 20 years ago. We talk about the rational mind. In America, we talk about healthcare right now, right? We talk about healthcare, the wellness of the wellness of the body politic, the republic, if you will. We talk about the wellness of the public, and here we are, brothers and sisters, fighting a very terse and toxic arguing about who gets quality health care, who's able to pay for health care. And while that's a very valid argument, I'm gonna be honest, you can't have the right without the left. They're in bed with one another. Even though you get affordable health care in some regards, there are people who have they've tried to repeal the ACA Obamacare Act over 70 times. And right now, all they've done is just gut the whole thing. It's always something. And it's people who have insurance going after people who need insurance, who don't have insurance. The rational mind. If I have something, let me tell you how the rational mind works for me. If it is a situation where I have two pies, two sandwiches, and walking down the street, I know I can eat a sandwich and probably have the availability to go get another sandwich. I see somebody who doesn't have a sandwich. My natural inclination, rational mind, is if that person wants a sandwich, I'm going to give it to that person. Okay, this is beyond religiosity. This is just basic human compassion. Think about this. I brought this up before. There was a term, we're talking about rational mind now. There was a term called drapetomania. There's a term called drapetomania. And this is people in the healthcare, mental health business came up with a term called drapetomania, and it described the illness, a mental illness, and this mental illness was that this particular mental illness addressed slaves who wanted to be free. It literally said, if you were a slave and you wanted freedom, you were suffering from this mental illness. Listen to me, suffering from this mental illness. Now, the rational mind is not the slave that wants to be free. The question is the rational mind or the effectiveness or even the validity of the quote unquote mind that comes up with something like this to handcuff somebody in some regards that this is not a freedom from you, this is a freedom from God. And somehow you have interjected yourself through the magic of social and psychological medicine to come up with a term that was embraced by slave owners. That it was embraced by slave owners to somehow say that the slave that wanted freedom somehow, some way was deficient, lacking in what? The rational mind. Let that sing in a little bit. Let it sing in a little bit. Because I just gave you a prescription for something that happened during the times of slavery. You don't think for one moment that this illness has not been evolved into something else? That this illness has not been evolved to Zionism? That this illness has not been evolved to MAGA? To white nationalist, to white evangelical nationalism? That these people have an inherent fear of us being free, of us being free of them, of us thinking freely for ourselves. You know, the rational mind is a terrible thing if you can't control it. Let me say that again. The rational mind is a terrible thing if you can't control it. Everybody knows that. When you're not in your right mind, you're out of sync. You lack alignment. You know this. It can be small things like not getting enough sleep. Huh? It could be a small thing like you got some kind of illness, the flu. You know that in your body isn't right. You're not in your rational mind. These are basics. They're minor because when the flu goes or you get enough sleep, you're okay. But you can look at sleep studies that tell you if you don't get enough sleep, it creates a capacity for mental illness. True stuff. But what I just told you is these are people making up things. That the rational mind is under attack. That these days, that train that I told you in the opening that goes through all the cities. It doesn't have tracks, it doesn't have guidance. It hits buildings, but somehow the buildings got in this way. There was a piece on social media, and they took a poll. They took polls from Israel, right? And fine, take a poll from Israel, do what you want to do. But they examined the rational mind of the population of Israel, how it applied to Palestinians. That 70 to 80% believe, almost like back in the day, the only good engine is the dead engine. They believe only good Palestinian was the dead Palestinian. And that goes for men, women, and damn sure children. That here in the United States, we are in the midst of having to fight for voting rights. Voting rights we didn't ask for, voting rights that you said we had, voting rights that the minute you gave it to us, you lost your rational mind and tried to figure out how to take it back. This illness, this deficiency of the heart is also tied to what happens when you lose your rational mind, right? That we look at things differently, that we begin to judge and value things differently. I'm a big history buff. Anybody knows me knows I'm a big history buff. In some of the journals that I was able to read about people who were in slavery, people that were in bondage. Think about this. Think about the slave that was born into slavery and died in slavery. Born into slavery, died into slavery. What is the protocol for a rational mind in that situation when everything around you is not rational? This presidency that we have right now will be defined years and years ago, years and years from now. It'll be defined by the fact that no one stepped up with a rational mind to confront the king or confront the wannabe king, to step out in a way that happened in the 60s, that happened in the 70s, where we called people on the carpet. We spoke truth to power, despite whatever the consequences are. That we knowingly know that to speak from your heart in a rational fashion, in rational speech coming from your rational mind, is deadly. That's what the civil rights was about. That's what the NOI was about. That's what a lot of our communities were about, but somehow we forgot that the change that you want is a defiant change. It's viewed as defiant. To you, it's rational, but to the rational, the irrational is somehow heresy. How dare you question my illegitimacy? How dare you put on display my ignorance? How dare you deconstruct my logic? Not say those things right now, but there's a lot of people in the Senate and Congress, especially some of old senators. Let's be honest. Back in the 50s, in the 60s, they did that. Whether it's the blacks, whether it's the women, whether it's the Latinos, but they did that. And there was a layer for them to do that. There was an allowance for them to do that. I want everybody to know, black folk didn't really come up with voting until the mid to late 70s. Okay? The mid to late 70s, because you can have a black mayor back then, but it didn't equate to black power because you're talking about an economic base. But African Americans push the economic base. Quietly, Latinos push the economic base. And with that economic base, that's when politicians decided to listen. These days, the political base is based on an emotional response. Yes, we're very emotional. We are moved to tears, moved to anger, but we're not moved to critical thinking. And even though we grow up with it, it's embedded in us. Somehow it gets beat down because there's no marketplace for the rational mind these days. You have to choose if you're going to get in an irrational conversation and work yourself to logic, or you're going to have to start all on your own and pull people, not even like-minded people, just people to understand a conversation needs to be had, pulling those people together and having a discussion. And then if you're lucky, getting a consensus to face all the foolishness, to face all the fallacies that are out here today. Give a shout out. Walaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Into the elevation. All right, good to see you. We got some more people here. Wild Planter Mania. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. So let me throw this out here. I mean, anybody can jump in. You know, it's an open format. Considering everything that you see right now, you have a Supreme Court, you have a White House, executive branch that is dead set against feeding its own citizens. That's one. You have an executive branch, you have a White House that is dead set on using the military against its own people. Do you understand what I'm saying? That type of mentality has not existed since the Civil War. That we use brutality on our own citizens. Our own citizens. And keep a scorecard. It starts with ICE. It starts with Latinos. It starts with they're not like us. No, shout out Kendrick Lamar. It starts out with they're not like us. And then it moves to we're better than them. You see, this whole copious effort to make people look and feel like other is a departure from the right. It's a departure from the rational mind. Nobody ever. You can be perceived as weird. You can be perceived as strange or goofy, but you never want to be perceived as not rational. Because when that happens, you can't fit into any specter of conversation and community because people will look at you. That's the thing that carries over. And the only reason that we're in the situation we're in today is there's been a large groundswell, hear me now, a large groundswell of people who have practiced and are embedded in irrationality. To them, there's no sun, there's no moon. To them, it's not 7 days a week, it's only 4. To them, it's not 24 hours in a day, it's 36. And so on, and so on, and so on. My point is, where does it end? You see, the gathering, if you will, of the great causes and the great minds, you know, they suspended some things. What they did is they suspended their egos because everyone knew that they were bringing some type of brilliance to the table. But if your ego is there, you can't look and appreciate and understand what other people's brilliance are. In conversations today, most conversations, once rational thought and logic is introduced, what happens oftentimes is it leads to conflict. People don't want to be told the reality that they're in. Think about that. The SNAP program hurt probably more red states than it did blue states. And yet those blue states will go, yeah, but it's those people that are taking out snaps. No, the government took your snaps. No, the Republicans took your snaps. And these are the same people who will take your health care, or at least make it way more expensive than you're able to afford. You see that drapetomania that I talked about? That's what that is. The inability, it should be for the people that made it up, it's the inability to see others, to recognize others, to respect others as free. I don't know what the verse of drapetomania is, but that's my diagnosis, if you will. And that diagnosis is extremely valuable and extremely valid for right now. It's a prescription for dealing with whiteness. You know, as long as I'm black, every day I wake up in the morning, every day I go to sleep, there's a reality that there's someone somewhere, I don't know, who wishes I didn't exist. Hear me now. They don't have to know me. We don't have to have a relationship. This cover of irrationality allows them in their mind to have a justification to question and, if given the opportunity, to end my existence in the world. Think about that when you wake up in the morning. See, that's we don't talk about it as Black folk. We talk about it amongst ourselves, but we don't talk about it because we're worried that people would think that, oh, we're victims. We're not victims. We're victorious because we weren't victims. We're not victims because we have vision. We're not victims because we have rational minds. That the things that we see are the things that we see. It's not through these lenses of apologist behavior and things like that. It's not through that. It's through the fact that we understand and we have accrued a certain amount of intelligentsia, intellectualism, data, history, understanding the demographics of who we deal with. Uh, what's the word? The avatars of fake freedom, the avatars of people who want to give you rules and regulations that apply to you and don't apply to them, they apply to you. The policies that come out, and the policies reflect what? Irrational thought. That's what they reflect. I got 2 minutes here. I'm gonna tell y'all something, and then I'm gonna wrap up. The greatest part and the scariest part of being Black in America or a minority in America is every day I wake up, I know I scare somebody. That's real. Every day I wake up, I scare somebody because I know that there's somebody walking around who may see me, and it crushes their heart that not that I'm happy, but I'm successful. It crushes their heart that I'm content. It crushes their heart that I can think outside of the box. And worse, I can communicate with other people who can think outside of the box. And even worse than that, the people who are still stuck in the box, Allah blesses me to say, hey, listen, there's other things outside of that box, the same way someone did for me. It crushes souls right now that in the midst of everything, you have people who have human compassion that rises to the level of rational thinking, and it rises to the level of divine intervention. It brings in aspects of godlike behavior in the midst of ungodliness, in the midst of people who can't see you as people. They see you as opportunities. They see you as impediments. They see you as obstacles. They see you as threats. They see you as anything other than human. And they damn sure don't see you as evil. Well, they do see you as evil, but they call that evil equality. So, on the wrap, I hope everybody has a good Wednesday. Shout out to Sister Tana. We hope you're feeling better. Listen, that's it on the Shout Out Show. Inshallah, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, December 27th, we're having the first annual Black Muslim Singles Networking and Comedy Gala in Washington, D.C. And we're going to have the first all DC, all Muslim, all DMV New Year's comedy show. New Year's comedy extravaganza with myself and some of my friends. We're going to make sure you guys get that information out soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm your brother, Preacher Moss. Take care now.